Hey there, family. Thank you so much for joining me as we continue to walk through the book of John. I'm so excited to share with you as we are about to dig into chapter 4. Now, as usual, I'm not going to read everything to you. I'm just going to highlight a few things to you that I think you should really take note of. Go back, read, consider, and ask God what it is that He wants to show you from it. The first thing, though, that I want to point out to you is that, again, we are at a moment where Jesus and water are in the same space. Okay. So to me, that's significant. Whenever I see something repeated over and over or happening again and again, I know that I need to pay attention. And we are going to find out later why this is so significant. But for right now, I want you to just take note of that before I dive in. So first, Jesus and the woman at the well. And there's a few things that I want to point out to you about that. This whole dialogue takes place with a Samaritan woman and Jesus, who was a Jewish man. And when you think of those two things, I want you to think that was a no-no. That was a no-no. These were two different people from two different classes that did not believe the same thing, that did not grow up the same way. And what Jesus was doing was could really have affected his reputation. But the thing I love about him is he was like, listen, I know what I came here for. I ain't worried about this reputation that y'all think I got to keep. Okay. He was worried about doing what his father told him to do. He wasn't concerned about what other people thought. He wasn't concerned about what other people were saying. He only cared about doing what his father told him to do. So he sat with this woman in an environment that it would have normally been completely unacceptable. And it even shocked the disciples later, we see, right? And he didn't care because he cares so much about her. And I want to point that out to you, that Jesus doesn't just go into our lives because it has to be all prettied up and perfect. No, he doesn't care about that because he knows that when he comes, it's going to change. He's not looking for the perfect environment. He's not worried about your reputation. He's not worried about his, okay? He's already established himself. He knows who he is and he knows what he's going to do in your life. But all he wants is that moment with you. And that's what he gave this woman at the well. And I love it. So Jesus realized, and he spoke to her spiritual need first. He realized that he's so wise and he teaches us so much that the first thing he had to do before even addressing her lifestyle was to speak to her spiritual need. And he does that in verse 10, where he says, if you only knew the gift God has for you and who you are speaking to, you would ask me and I would give you living water. He's telling her, listen, you came here for just regular water. If you only knew the gift that God had for you, the gift, pay attention to that word, the gift that he has for you. And she's thinking, I came here for water. Somebody got a gift for me? You know, I'm sure that came to mind. He had a gift for her and it was living water. She still had no clue what he was talking about. But it's like her walls began to come down because she started to sense there was something different about him. But this is what I want to highlight to you. He knew her lifestyle was a symptom of a deeper problem, her need for Jesus, and her need for a true revelation of who he was. Often things we say and do reveal areas where we need to go to God and heal and mature. So we come into this same moment in our own life where there's something that we're doing, there's something that we're saying that's really revealing a need for God to come in and clean that up. It's not a need for us to stay in that because he didn't go to her and say, okay, just stay in what you're doing. No. When we pay attention and when God puts a shining flashlight on an area of our life, it is because he wants to come into that space and to remove that and fill it up with what he wants there. And that's what he was doing. So we need to pay attention to the behaviors, the words, and the lifestyle choices that we make. We can look at her and say, oh, look at what she was doing. But when we're reading the Bible, we always want to look at ourselves. It is a mirror for us to look at ourselves and say, I probably need to pay attention to my lifestyle choices. They may not be the same as hers, but if my lifestyle choices include me talking about people behind their back, and my lifestyle choices include me watching things I shouldn't be watching, listening to things I shouldn't be listening to, saying things I shouldn't be saying, I need to mature in that area. And I need God to shine the flashlight on that and remove that out of me. Okay. The second or third point, I don't know which point I'm at because I've said so much, but what I have written is the third point is when the disciples found him, they were concerned about his health. So after all that happened and she goes and she tells everyone about this man who knew everything about her. The disciples walk up on it. They're like, oh, Jesus, do you know what you're doing? I don't think this is supposed to happen, but you know what? We're not going to say nothing because it's not our place. We're going to mind our own business. But they were even concerned about his reputation. I love that. I mean, that's what a good friend is going to do. They're going to be concerned about your reputation. And Jesus is like, listen, y'all, I'm good. I'm good over here. Don't worry about me. Okay. I know what I'm doing. So then they come to him. They say, well, did you eat? And he's like, listen, y'all are worried about all the wrong things. And when I read this, I was like, oh, this is so good. I needed this. I needed this in this moment. So I want to take you to verse 32 and 32 to 34. When after the disciples said, you need to eat, he said, but Jesus replied, I have a kind of food you know nothing about. Did someone bring him food while we were gone? The disciple asked each other. Then Jesus explained, my nourishment comes from doing the will of God who sent me and from finishing his work. That stood out to me. But we can't finish what we haven't started, right? So Jesus said, I'm good. I have all the nourishment that I need because my nourishment comes from finishing his work. And I took that personally and I said, you know what? That's where my nourishment should come from, finishing the work that God has called me to do. But I also realized this very important thing. I cannot finish something I haven't started. You cannot finish a work that you have not started. This is why I created the I Can't Come Down movement that talks about walking in your purpose and assignment with focus. This is why I wrote the book, Taking the 5 Leaps, because I know the importance of starting the work so that we can finish. God expects us to finish the work and finish well, but we cannot finish well if we have not even started. So my encouragement to you today is find your nourishment and finding out what work God is calling you to finish. What is it that you need to start? And what is it that you need to finish? This is something for us to really reflect on and think about, because we can be doing all of these different things. I'm over here, I'm doing this, but we need to finish the work that God has told us to finish. We need to start the work that God has told us to start. All right. So if you want to learn more about the I Can't Come Down movement, visit ican'tcomedown.com. If you want to learn more about Taking the 5 Leaps book, visit takingthe5leaps.com. And my goal is to help you start and finish well. All right. So thank you again for joining me as we talk through another book of John. Can't wait to continue sharing. And thank you so much for tuning in.